Welcome everyone to another Facebook Live. I am Greta Russo, and we things are a little bit different today. Dr. Nelva Bryant is at a conference and is trying to come into us from her phone, and until she can figure out that aspect. I'm actually going to get the live going with our special guests, and then we'll pull Dr. Bryant in when she comes. So let me introduce our guests for us. Let's see. Let me pull the young ladies in. Um, Okay, so everyone, I would love to introduce you to the two young ladies who are the founders of Positive Pet Health Certificates, and I'll read their bio for us. Um, let's see. Positive Pet Health Certificate is the brainchild of two veterinarian industry professionals who were frustrated by the lack of resources available to USDA accredited veterinarians for completing health certificates in an efficient, repeatable way. As pet parents themselves, uh, positive pet health certificates co-owners recognize the stress and confusion vets and pet owners faced when it came to completing international health certificates and keeping up with the constant changes to pet import regulations across the world. Their services ensure accuracy and compliance with global pet airline travel and import requirements while allowing the veterinarian teams to focus on patient care instead of tedious paperwork. When you choose positive pet health certificates as your pet travel health partner, you are guaranteed that your pet will have all the veterinarian work and documentation required for the destination, transit countries, and airlines. Let positive pet health certificates be your guide to a stress free pet travel health certificate experience. Everyone, please welcome Nicole. Let's see, I'm sorry, I apologize. Um, if you could please welcome Nicole as well as Mary, who are the co-owners of Positive Pet Health Certificates. And usually at this time, we have a little machine we push with that claps. So, but I will just leave it to you to take it away, girls.
Okay, thank you so much, Greta. I'm Nicole, and my business partner, Mary, and we met working for a major pet travel company, and we both have extensive backgrounds in the pet and vet industries together. So we recognize the stress that pet owners and vet teams are under in order to prepare for their pets for travel with limited resources available to them. I was previously a veterinary technician and hospital manager for 15 years, and Mary was also a vet tech with a career in helping the vets and the pet insurance industry. So we both understand the strain that vets are under and how overwhelmed pet owners can be in trying to navigate the complicated health certificate process. But also for pet owners, they're trying to move themselves internationally. So they have a lot going for them. So we discussed realities of the vet industry and how the vets struggle, why we were working together, and also being able to offer the specialty service to their clients. So our goal really was creating how can we make this as easy and efficient and also less stressful for the vet industry and the pet parents. So we wanted to be the specialist where they can refer for help. We also wanted to make sure clients feel confident in the process in submitting the health certificates to the USDA digitally so we can ensure that it gets to them in time for the travel. We are a full service company our goal was to make it affordable as well for pet parents to get that same white glove service that you may get at a full pet travel agency. And we've really made that one of our goals is to keep it as affordable as possible. So that way, in turns, it helps the vet industry with it. The vet industry in general, which a lot of people don't realize, is really tough right now. They're underworked, they're overworked, understaffed, and a lot of clients may not realize that this is truly a specialty service. So I always say, if your dog has a knee issue and needs surgery, you get referred to an orthopedic specialist for that. And we are the specialists when it comes to international pet travel. It's very hard to keep up with everyday change in regulations, I feel like, with some of these countries, and we are kept up to date on all of that. And it's hard to be able to do that in the vet industry because you're juggling so many things at once, that this is, again, just another specialty that you really need to have staff on this every day. And that's unfortunately unrealistic with the vet. So that's why we come into play, and we really take the burden off of the vet professionals, but also for the clients, because we make sure that your pet is going to meet the criteria for the airlines, for the customs, and for the USDA endorsement. We have some stories where veterinarians have come to us needing help. And some of the stories that we have been told just lets us know that we are on the right path to helping pet parents and the vet industry. There's one story in particular that comes to mind is we did have a vet that reached out to us recently where they had a client that was traveling to Chile, and they did not submit the health certificate through the digital endorsement. A lot of vet clinics do this, and I don't blame them because, again, they don't have the time, as they have the clients look into the criteria, do the research. They'll sign the health certificate and say to the client, mail it to the USDA, and they should mail it back to you. And that's hard for, I think, if you're not in the profession, to figure out what the requirements are for travel to each country. Especially for clients, again, trying to juggle a million things. And this client, unfortunately, never mailed that health certificate to the USDA, was traveling the next day, and they were calling for help because now they have to submit it electronically, and they want to make sure that this pet can travel the next day. We expedited the situation. We looked through the pet's medical records, and unfortunately, the pet did not even meet qualifications for the customs check-in. They met it for possibly the USDA endorsement, but customs was going to be asking for a full rabies history to ensure that there was no lapse. And unfortunately, that cat did not meet that. So this is an example of how we stepped in. We were able to help, talk to them, what the steps that needed to be taken. And it just makes you realize that, okay, just because the USDA requires some certain criteria doesn't necessarily mean it matches everything that the customs may ask. So we make sure we take care of that.
That's absolutely amazing. I know that Dr. Bryant and I have been really diving into how this is a major area, a major gap that really needs to be filled for everyone involved. As you pointed out, the pet parents, most importantly, the veterinarians, as well as, the airlines. It's just, it's an important piece of document that the pet parents have to have, required by the airlines. And yet, as simple as filling out this document is, it's having the greatest amount of problems. I'm glad that Dr. Bryan had found you ladies and what you offer, because it's so crucial in the whole process of flying with your pet, whether it's domestically or internationally. There's so many important steps, and all of them have to be followed correctly before you even start, because at any point in the journey of what you have to do just to prepare, by the time you get to the airline can say, no, you and your pet are not allowed to take this destination. So I applaud you both for everything that you're doing. So let's see, I know that Mary has a few words for us all as well. And she asked me to pull a document up. So if you give me a second, or if you want to talk, I'll try to pull the document up while you're working.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you, Greta. Yeah, that works great. I can get started and talk while you work on that. But what I'm really here to talk about is how our services really work, what step by step, and what are the benefits. And so, really, initially, pet parents coming to us typically will hear about us from their veterinarian. We partner with vets all over the country who utilize our services with their clients. So, most pet owners will hear about our services through their vet. They'll come to our website and they'll fill out a brief questionnaire. And that questionnaire is really designed to just really learn the who, what, where, when, and why of the move, really, just to help us with putting together a custom quote based on what country you're going to, what airlines you're flying on, how many pets you have, when your travel date is. So that's what that questionnaire is really designed to get at. And then we'll respond within one business day, usually within a few hours, with a custom quote designed to be as affordable as possible. We really pride ourselves in keeping our prices affordable. We are former vet professionals. We've been talking about, we're pet owners ourselves. We get it. Not everybody is able to afford a full service pet transport for their pets, and so we're really here to specialize in helping the veterinarians and pet owners with making sure medically they're qualified for travel. And so when that pet owner is ready to get started with us, usually their due date will be based on when they're traveling. Some pet owners are leaving a lot sooner than others. Others, we have some more time to prepare. But when they're ready to move forward, they're gonna go ahead and pay that invoice, sign their service agreement electronically, and then we're gonna hit the ground running and get started. We're gonna contact that pet's prior veterinarians, including any USDA vets they currently have, and they're usually about 3 years worth of medical records to really get back to into that vaccine history. When were they microchipped? Those are some of the things we're usually looking for initially. And then we're going to use those medical records and put together a detailed checklist that has all of the action items and steps that the pet owner is going to have to take with their veterinarian in order to prepare their pet for travel. So they may need a new rabies vaccine. We'll put that in there. They may need some testing in order to qualify for travel, depending on which countries they're going to. And so we'll have a detailed timeline of appointments and when those deadlines need to be met and when we need to schedule those appointments. And then that'll allow us to work together with your vet to schedule those appointments in advance. And we're going to be with you every step of the way. We'll provide detailed instructions for each exam, including any supporting documents that you might need. Like we've talked about, it's not just the USDA endorsement that we have to think about. Their airlines have their own requirements as well. We want to make sure we're satisfying any documents that they need. So we're really going to be cognizant of all of those factors when we're putting this together for you. And we're going to make sure after each vet visit, you leave with what you need. And then, of course, really, this is all in preparation for that health certificate exam, which is usually about within a few days of travel. And we're going to send a pre-filled health certificate and detailed instructions to the vet clinic and the pet owner, usually about a week prior to that exam. So everyone has time to look through it and absorb it. And this is really the bread and butter of our services. We're really here to make this process as pain-free and easy for both the vet and the pet owner as we can. And so we're going to try and take as much of the tedious paperwork side off of that as possible. So Nicole mentioned that the USDA has a digital endorsement system called VHIX or VEX or VEHCS, whatever you want to call it. And we love it. It is a great way to quickly submit health certificate documents and communicate back and forth with the USDA if there's any questions. And so we're going to be there for every step of that process. So we're going to pre-fill the health certificate with all of the pet's required information based on all of the prep work that we've done. We're going to pre-upload that health certificate, any rabies certificates and other supporting documents that would be required for the endorsement, and including any shipping labels. Many countries are still going to want that physical endorsed health certificate, so the USDA will mail that to you based on that digital submission. So we'll include that shipping label and everything that's needed so that when the exam time comes, the pet owner just needs to show up for the exam and the veterinarian just needs to clear the pet for travel. And you're all set to go. The vet will review the health certificate, make sure it looks good, submit it, and then we're going to help monitor the health certificate with the USDA until it's endorsed. Excuse me. And from there, sometimes they have questions about the pet's history. If they do, we'll act as that intermediary between the USDA and the veterinarian. Usually the veterinarian's off in surgeries and doing other things, so we try to help as much as possible with playing that middleman and helping bridge the gap there too. And then as soon as it's endorsed, we'll be able to see that in the VHICS endorsement system. We'll be able to email everyone a copy of the health certificate, so the pet owner will have that digital copy right away. And then it begins, we'll wait for usually FedEx to deliver that health certificate. So we'll help with monitoring that through to be delivered through FedEx to the pet owner before they depart, and nudge them along as needed sometimes. And then once it's ready, we're going to make sure that the pet owner has everything that they need in hand, ready for travel for the pet owner, for that pet to be ready to go. And we're going to make sure that they have any letters that they need for the airline and what have you. So that's really the bread and butter of our process. And we're really here to make it so that the vet is not, and these technicians who are seeing tens of patients a day are able to focus on what matters and really making sure that pets are healthy and prepared for travel and whatever else they may face.
Wow, Mary, thank you so much for breaking that down. As everyone can see here, it is such a comprehensive process that both you and Nicole go through with each one of your clients. The first question that I have myself is, okay, so for me, I guess it's the planner in me. I'm all about scheduling things out. So the first thing that I want to ask is, number one, when you go to plan a trip, and we'll do two different ones, domestically or internationally, what is the time frame a pet parent should work with you, getting all, this documentation correct, and then how does that fall in the timeline before we get our tickets, or should we get our tickets first and then contact you? So what is the time frame, if you can explain that both domestically and internationally?
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to our services, because we are so specialized in this one piece of the puzzle, we really can act quickly when needed. Ideally, though, we would want it for an internet. Let's start with an international move. Ideally, for an international move, we're really looking for at least about 2 months to fully prepare a pet for travel. And that's really based on some of the waiting periods that certain countries have that pets need to meet prior to being allowed to even enter the country. Usually vaccines have to be given, and then they'll need to wait a month or more before they can enter. And so in those cases, we'll want to make sure that we have enough time to make sure pets have those steps done. So ideally, we'll be with you from the beginning, from before you've even booked your flights, so that we can help kind of guide your pet along with your personal move process and as you're looking into those flights. So if you don't even know yet when you're going, but you're leaving maybe this fall, and you want to get started now, definitely don't waste time. We can start and guide you through the process as early as you want to get started. We are those type A planners as well. That's why we do this. So we want to help you with that too. But we also understand there's not always the luxury of time. Like Nicole mentioned, we had that one pet owner who was going to Chile the next day, and we were able to kind of pull out of the stops and help them in that instance. We've had a lot of rush moves that are usually within a week or less, and as long as that pet qualifies, we can fill out that health certificate and let you know you're ready to go. But ideally, for an international move, it's really going to be based on what that country requires. Some require more than 6 months of prep work, for places like Australia and things like that. So it really is very country dependent, but in every case, the sooner the better. But don't let that deter you. It's our quote process is really designed to make sure that we can meet your needs and that we can help your pet travel in time. And we want to make sure first and foremost that your pet is going to be accepted at the border based on those dates that you're looking to travel. The reality may be that they don't qualify and they may not be. And we may need to talk the parent through that and what to do if, we need to maybe wait an extra week if they don't qualify yet or what have you. So we're here to help with all of that, even in the event that it's a little bit later than we would usually hope to start the process. And for domestic moves, domestic is pretty straightforward. So in those cases, as long as a pet has a valid rabies vaccine, we can usually help within a few days to a week or two. And as always, the earlier the better, so that we can really guide that process for you and customize it to you and make sure the vet is available too. A lot of times, we're really working with the veterinarian's tight schedule. Sometimes there's only one USDA accredited vet at a practice, which they have to see that USDA vet if it's an international move. So there's really a lot of factors we're juggling. So being a planner in this business definitely doesn't hurt. And we want to help pet parents, who maybe struggle with that part too.
Absolutely. And you brought up such an important piece of information that we're continuing to ingrain or repeat each week that we do this Facebook Live, is that not every veterinarian can fill out the health certificate. As a pet parent, you have to go to an accredited veterinarian to fill out this health certificate. I think the last time we were on Facebook Live, we pointed out it's great to go to your veterinarian to get the medical documents and your pet's history, but in order to have this pet health certificate filled out, you have to go to an accredited veterinarian. Can Nicole and you, Mary, tell us where a pet parent can find a accredited veterinarian?
Yeah, so actually on the USDA website, and if you go on Positive Pet Health Certificate website, we actually also have a live link where you can search for a USDA accredited vet. So it goes by the state that you live in and the county that you're located in is how you'll find a USDA accredited vet. And there's two different levels, category 1 and 2. Both categories can most certainly do a USDA health certificate, international health certificate for you, but that's how you'll be able to find a veterinarian. That's also one of the perks of our service package that we offer. If our clients do not have a USDA accredited doctor, we step in and we will find the closest USDA accredited doctor to where they are located. So that is nice as well.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing that, so that it'll be great for our pet parents to go to your site, not only for your services, but also to learn about what they need to know, also to find out about accredited veterinarians and work with you through the document process. And I had another question. So I know that in the front you were, as planners do, hand holding and getting the pet parent through this documentation process. So let's say they get their ticket and their pet get on their way and they get to their destination, whether it's domestically or internationally. If they end up having to see a doctor on the other end or a pet hospital, is it okay, or is a part of your service for them to call you or reach out to you so that you can help in, I guess I'm asking, do you help on that end if they end up having to go in a hospital? And I don't know if you do, or if you do it, and if you do, what kind of help do you add in assisting the pet parent?
Yeah, definitely. So we've a lot of pet parents, as you know, it's not an international move. It's a trip for them, and they're taking either their service dog or their companion animal, who's with them every step of the way. And those types of pet owners definitely speak to us. We want our pets with us every step of the way too, and that might mean coming back within, maybe we have a lot of people who travel over the holidays and come back to the States after Christmas and things like that. And so in those instances, we don't work directly with your veterinarian. Say if you're going to Brazil, for example, and then returning from there, we don't work directly with that Brazil veterinarian for that process, but we're going to take the fact that you're returning to the United States into consideration when building their move plan and make sure that whatever recommendations we're making in the US is going to transfer over to Brazil as well. And as much as possible, avoid you having to get new vet work done there before returning. It depends on a million factors, of course, how long you'll be in that country, which countries you'll be in. But we'll be able to guide you through that and give you that advice on what to do upon returning. And we'll make sure that you have those documents to give to your foreign vet as well. So while we're not going to be, quite as involved in that health certificate process, we're going to make sure you have what you need, and we're always going to be a resource for any questions or concerns. But we are primarily U.S. and Canada based.
Okay, okay, thank you so much. Now, I do have a few questions that came in, but I want to ask you quickly because I'm not sure if it's two different questions or if it's the same one and you just answered, and you can let me know. But we had a question pop in that said, let me just read the comment again. What is the length of time it can take to get a health certificate? So I think we covered it both domestically and internationally, but if there's a little difference in that question and what we already stated, just let us know.
Yeah, I can kind of elaborate. I think I know what they might be getting at there too. And in terms of the length of time to actually get that health certificate physically, it's really going to depend on that destination country as well. In most cases, it's within 10 days that you're going to finally physically go to the veterinarian for that health certificate exam. 10 days is a good rule of hand. Some are shorter windows than that. Some have a little bit longer. That's usually the window you're looking at prior to departure for the pet to be examined by the pet and have that health certificate filled out. So there's a lot of time-based factors when it comes to health certificates. So that would be another certainly way to answer that question as well. It's a good one.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's see, I do have some questions that I'll pop up in here. They're not addressed to either one of you, so you both can take it or one of you, but I'll start to show them now. So this first one is, see if it'll come up on the screen. Why did you start Positive Pet Health Certificate?
So we started Positive Pet Health Certificates really to kind of be the bridge to gap the number of different factors that go into pet travel, which is the veterinarian, the pet parents, and the airline. And we're kind of being the bridge to have all the correct documentation for that pet to travel for all three criteria and actually be the resource for all three of those categories as well. We see how important it is for pet parents to make sure that their pets arrive safely with all the correct documentation, but also we see how overwhelmed the vet community is and our vet family that we call them. So we really wanted to be that accurate resource for the veterinarians to rely on as well as for the clients. So we'll take away all that stress, that worry, and we ensure that the pets are going to be meeting that criteria. We're on a lot of Facebook pages and we always feel so bad and make us cringe when we see, pet owners constantly being like, what documentations do I need for my pet to go to this country? Or I just submitted and emailed out my health certificate. How long does the endorsement process take? I haven't received it. I'm leaving tomorrow. When you work with us, you do not have to worry about anything. We always joke to our vet partners and to our pet parents. The only thing you need to worry about is schedule the appointments and follow the directions. That's it. We will take care of everything else in between, above and beyond, to make sure that You're not worrying and stressing about it. The vet's not worrying and stressing about it. The airlines have everything that they need, and you can actually just enjoy and focus on your wonderful move and where you're going and yourself and your family. So.
I I think that you ladies had covered in your in the graphic that we showed a lot of what you guys do. But just in case there's anything that we missed, you know, sometimes you get used to listing everything out, and you're like, oh, I have to mention that. Um, is there any other work or benefits that that your company, that pet parents can get while working with your company?
Yes. So some of the benefits is we 100% guarantee what we are telling you that you need done is accurate. We are fully insured, and we're also members of IPATA, which is the International Pet and Animal Transportation Association. A lot of veterinarians surprisingly have never heard of it before, of that organization, nor are they a part of that. So that's a huge benefit working with our company as well. If there's any questions or concerns, we have access to agents in almost every country in the world where we can talk to them and say, this is a situation we're in. What can we do? So that way your pet is guaranteed and is traveling and getting the correct documentation needed to go into that specific country. So that is a big thing that we pride ourselves on, is making sure that we are accurate and that you are guaranteed to your pet to go over there without any issues or problems.
Fantastic. I'm sure, Nicole, that pet parents love the fact that especially when it's something they don't know anything about, they can rely on your company and you and Mary for helping them in this area, because it can be scary. Because everyone knows, if I don't do this correctly, my pet is going to be rejected. And that's a stressful thing to, you know, keep hanging over a pet parent's head. And that's why Dr. Bryant and I wanted to make sure we introduced you ladies to the pet parents that watch this, and even pet professionals, so that they know there is someone out there that can help on this stretch of the journey. Another question that has come in, and I apologize. Why is it so important to have correct documentation for each leg of the journey, including customs and the airlines?
So that's really important, because, you know, the scary part is if you arrive in a specific country and your pet might not meet the criteria, your pet may be forced into quarantine at that situation. They may get turned away, and now your pet has to fly back to the US, which becomes a problem for the airlines. What do you do in that situation? And some countries are extreme, and they'll actually euthanize your pet. So that is a lot of importance goes into your pet arriving with all the correct documentation, because that would be such a terrible and scary situation for you to be in emotionally, financially. You're going to have to pay for those quarantines, which would be pretty costly if your pet does not have all the correct documentation. And then with the airlines, now these airline companies are stuck with these pets and kind of in limbo. They may not be able to bring them back to the US. So what do you do in that situation? So we guarantee to help avoid any type of unfortunate situations like that occurring for your pet.
Oh my goodness, that is so incredible in what you're saying. Because, you know, when you were just mentioning that, Nicole, I you know, all of a sudden I had to clutch my pearls, like, oh, you know, it's like you don't realize how intense this whole process is, or how deep it can go. And you know, we are just doing our best to try to make sure we can inform pet parents as much as possible. One of the questions that popped in my head while you were talking was, is there a list of countries that are like no-fly zones? Are there countries that pets cannot come in or out of out there? And do you provide that, or is there somewhere we can find that?
So most countries do have a process, a very detailed process in place for accepting pets at their airport. It's very rare. There's some very tiny islands I can think of who wouldn't, necessarily have a process for that. But in most cases, countries will accept pets. You just have to be sure to follow those regulations. And while it can seem really daunting as a pet owner, and for the veterinarian too, because of course they understand the burden that's on their shoulders as well to ensure that maybe they've never moved a pet to this country before, but they know that the requirements are extensive. That's what we're really here to make sure that we can take that burden off of their shoulders, because we can be the experts who've done this before. And like Nicole mentioned, we have this network across the globe with iPoda that we can reach out to for resources ahead of time, and in the moment to really help a pet parent, whatever the case may be. But there's no list of countries per se. The USDA's website is really your one-stop shop for pet owners looking to travel with their pets. They will detail every country's requirements, and in some cases there aren't even requirements listed on the USDA's website. And so pet owners may get there and say, I'm moving to Qatar, and there's no guidelines on the USDA's website. They say, we don't know, reach out to Qatar and they'll tell you. And that's where we come in. We know exactly what's needed for a pet to enter into countries like that. And so for especially those countries, that maybe are less traveled, we want to be there to help, and bridge that gap where that information maybe isn't widely available, because it may seem like a country doesn't allow pets to be imported, but there really is. And you kind of have to follow that. You got to enjoy following the breadcrumbs a little bit to really find out some of these requirements and regulations. And so yeah, that's what. But there's usually a way.
Okay, that's fantastic. Nicole and Mary, what your company, what are the advantages from a veterinarian, airline, or customs perspective?
So the advantages, from the veterinary perspective, we'll start with them, is again the amount of time that it takes to go through pet's medical records, then to research what that country needs, and to get everything together. You just, as a veterinarian, cannot charge enough for your time, nor do you have that luxury or time, unfortunately. In the vet world, they are doing surgeries, they're doing emergencies, they're doing regular appointments, and then you're trying to throw a specialty service into something like this. So it's nice for a veterinarian to partner with us, because we take all of that worry, we take all that legwork out for them, as well as for the clients. We're not expecting the clients to do any type of research. We are providing exactly what that country and customs and airlines need. We make sure your pet meets all three of those categories. The airlines, they never have problems. They're not going to have a pet that gets turned away at customs when working with us. And now the airlines are going to have to deal with that pet being shipped back to the US. So that is huge for the airlines. And then for the customs, they're not dealing with having now to do a last minute quarantine or turning that pet away. We are going to have the exact documentation that's needed. And we are even so specific that we'll tell clients, you can print out a copy and travel with that. Or you need an original ink signed document in order to enter that country. Because believe it or not, countries are that particular, whether they want an original ink signed documentation or they're okay with a copy. We make sure that that pet meets all of that.
I'm sorry, my computer is just moving a little slow. I think it knows it's the weekend right around the corner. So I apologize for the lag. But I'm glad that you told us about that, because, at first I thought it was just the pet parents and the veterinarians and the airlines. But my goodness, this question brought up people I didn't realize that you, as our advocate, has an impact on or assisting us with. And that's not just the veterinarian or the airlines, but then there's customs. So, there's so many people involved just to travel one way or the other, internationally or domestic. And I'm so glad that you ladies are a part of assisting pet parents through this, because there's just so much. Let's see. Another question that has come in is, why is it important to get airline recommended cargo crates or in-cabin carriers? Well, let me tell you, ladies, Dr. Bryant, this is like a bane to her existence. And, because she cannot stand those crates that are out there marketing that they are airline compliant, and they clearly are not. And so, we would love to get your perspective on this question.
So it's important for airline recommended in cargo crates or in cabin carriers, because that is what is safely going to transport your pets to the destination. Dr. Bryant and I did talk about this, about one of the things that, drives her crazy is when pets are not in safe carriers or crates. And, thinking about it, you want to make sure you're not using a secondhand crate. You want to use a brand new crate, because what a lot of people don't realize is if your pet is traveling cargo and your pet somehow escapes that crate, that actually becomes an emergency mid-airline, because that pet could go and ruin wires, could harm itself, and now that's caused an emergency landing. So it's super important when you are looking for recommended crates that you are getting an IATA approved one, which they're specialized to meet the airline requirements. And that you also, I wouldn't go on Craigslist to get one. I would get a brand new one that's going to be safe and secure. And same thing with the in-cabin carriers. Even though your pets are traveling in cabin with you, which is nice and have the luxury, they still need to be safe and they need to be confined, especially if there's turbulence. They need to have a safe, secure area that's going to protect them from moving around too much or from getting thrown around. So that's why it's important to make sure you're properly measuring your pets. For the crates, you're leaving a little extra room, but then you also have the proper bedding in there. And then you also have the proper for them to drink water while they're traveling as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much for pointing all that out. It's it's so unfair to the pet parents because they honestly don't know. I believe they do want to do what's right for their pets, and they want to get what is compliant. There's just so many mixed messages out there. And you brought up such a key phrase, is to look for if they're IATA compliant. I think it was IATA compliant or iPod. I want to make sure I'm saying the right one.
IATA. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. There actually is only one crate that Dr. Bryant will recommend and refer to pet parents, and it's not even made in the United States. And it's called Magnum Dog, and it is IATA compliant. It's an absolutely amazing crate, and and they make crates that are for all sizes, even the humongous dogs. So they're the only ones that we actually recommend. And then one of our very good friends is Gail Marks, and she is the creator of the Sherpa dog carrier, and hers is the only one that all the airlines recommend. And because of that, she actually has 100% satisfaction guaranteed clause, or almost like a little club. If you go through Sherpa to make your airline arrangements to have your pet flown, there's 100% guarantee that it will not be rejected. So those are the only two bags that we really promote, and it's because the airlines have said yes, we put our red stamp on this. Yes.
And you're so right, Greta, too. I mean, that a lot of, especially in cabin, like we're not, I can't tell you how many clients we had who sent us what they were hoping to travel with their pet in, and it's like a backpack, or like, it's like, oh no, okay, we really have to, even for in cabin, we have to make sure that it's going to be compliant with what the airlines require, because we could do all this prep work and you'll get there and they may just be turned away for the bag they're in. So, even in
Oh, yeah.
cabin, that's, it's such an important consideration. And that's why the Sherpa bags are amazing, because like you said, every airline will accept those. So, we really pride ourselves in making sure that pets are safe,
Yeah.
because so often that more often than not, that's the last thing you're thinking about is, oh, I need to get that crate. And two, it's something important to remember when it comes to crate sizes is, that you need to get that as far in advance as you can. It's
Yeah.
sometimes these are sold out, and so you may have to get creative in terms in contacting the companies to order those. So as early as you can, consider those crates as well.
Absolutely. And to your point, it's best to get the correct crate as early as possible, because it's all about training your pet to be comfortable in that crate and making it its new happy place. Instead of pulling it out for just to travel, how about keeping it out and letting it be a place they can go in and sleep or hang out in, or just to get away from the family, but making it a happy space will help it be a better and experience, and a calm experience when they use it for any type of travel. Um, let's see. Additionally, there's so many. So I know that people actually send pictures or send their crates to Dr. Bryant to approve before they go on trips, and I love that they do that. And Dr. Bryant will be completely honest with them. So the new thing now are collapsible crate. They have everything that Dr. Bryant likes, and then she'll read in the last sentence, collapsible. That's not what we want, because that means the thing can collapse inside the airline thing, inside the cargo. And, if you can imagine a scared animal trying to get out of something, they're going to do it. And if the framework of the structure that's holding them has any fault to it, like being collapsible, or is only held together by zip ties, an animal can turn very wild in trying to get out. So it's about trying to make this trip as safe as possible, and that means buying quality transportation products. Let's see. Speaking of that, we have an interesting question that has come in. I'm concerned about my nervous pet flying in cargo. Why can't I sedate them? And what can I do to help my pet stay calm during the travel? Well, I'll tell you what Dr. Bryant says after you ladies chime in.
Yeah, Nicole, do you want to give your vet professional experience on this one? Because it's a big one.
Yeah. So, sedating pets is a no-no for airlines, and it's for good reason too. Because when you sedate a pet, clients don't realize that will actually prevent a pet from properly like regulating their body temperature and regulating themselves. So they could get hypothermic pretty quickly if they're in cargo or even in cabin, because now you have the pressure change, and that can lead to a medical emergency very quickly for a pet. So that's why we always tell our clients, do not sedate your pets. They're healthier and they'll be safer if they go without any sedation, even with their anxiety. And that does tie back to a nice structured crate. If the dog's trying to break out of the crate and that crate's not budging, eventually that dog is going to settle and go to sleep or relax, because they're in a nice, safe, structure for them and it's not moving. One thing that we do tell clients is for cats, you can use a natural like Feel Away has great wipes that is a natural relaxant for cats that you can wipe down the carrier with that. So when they go in, they can smell that pheromone and get them nice and relaxed. And there's also all natural for dogs. There's something called Composure that works really well on some dogs and it makes them naturally relax. And you're not getting the side effects of them being sedated.
And two, it brings up a good point as well, is that, Greta was just saying is spend that time acclimating your pet to that crate as well, especially, dogs really tend to take to those crates if you just get them used to it a few months in advance, and it can really become their happy place. As a former animal trainer, I can definitely tell you it's a huge benefit just in any pet owner's pocket to crate training them and really making them feel safe in that environment can go a long way towards easing that in-flight anxiety that they may feel. And having the proper bedding will help with that as well. In some cases, you can throw in, a blanket that smells like you or an old T-shirt that will help, but let you know if that's accepted on your airline. But even those small things that remind them of home can go a long way as well.
I am coming. There we go. Thank you, ladies. You gave such great tips. And, like I had mentioned, Doctor, there's certain things that you can kind of see her roll her eyes and grip her fist. But the crate and the sedation are two that just get to her. And something that Dr. Bryant has mentioned before with sedation is the reason why you don't want to do it is one that's very simple is that, what if they get sick and aspirate on their vomit and they're, too lethargic to kind of, they rolled over and now they threw up and now they're aspirating. So it's like, number one, when you have them in a situation that they need to be aware of their surroundings, sedating them is not going to help. If you create a calm environment prior to the trip, leading up to the trip, getting them to the airline, and then after that, the pet will kind of leave from you still calm, as opposed to if you throw him in a crate they're not used to, and then he's nervous as can be in his ride, and now there's a whole bunch of strangers that are talking and wrangling around him. There's just so much more that can get him nervous in that aspect, as opposed to keeping him calm leading up to the handoff to the airline. And pets, just like people, want to be aware of their surroundings. I don't think any of us would want to be sedated on our flight. I think we all want to know what's going on, so that just in case anything can happen, we can react to that. So,
yeah, desensitization is key for sure. Just desensitize and work with your dog and cat consistently.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's see. I know that Dr. Bryant has been listening in, even though she could not chime in. She has definitely been listening in. Now, let's see. I'm concerned won't hide on me or go away. So let's see. I'm trying to take that away so we can show your information. And I'm having some technical difficulties right here. Let's see. I apologize. See if I can get these to go away. But in the meantime, I did want to, let's see, now I can't get over to the comments. Dr. Bryant has, where'd everybody go? Okay, Dr. Bryant has been listening in, and I wanted to show some of her comments and share them with everyone, but it's not coming up. I apologize. Everything is just
we can see one of the comments, Greta.
Oh, you can? On your end? Maybe it's just my end. Do you see her comment? Oh, there she is. She just showed up. Okay, so there's one. So let's see. I'm gonna show another one. Um, let's see if it'll switch over to the other one. Okay, so important to get an IATA compliant crate for travel. Let's see now. Let's just, and she, like I said, she's on, I guess, watching us on Facebook and is listening in. So she's made these comments throughout. Older crates can dry rot and can't contain the pet. I believe you guys mentioned that one. Let's see. What else did she mention? Make sure the crates are appropriate size. Definitely. And I think, isn't there a way to measure so that, they got to stand, they got to be in the crate and be able to stand up and turn around. So is there a certain amount of height between the top of their head and the crate they should have to be able to make sure they got the right size? Do you ladies know?
It should be a few inches that they should be able to have above their head, and then they should just be able to just barely turn around in a crate. You don't want to have like a huge amount of room, but you want them enough where they can comfortably turn and stand with a couple of inches.
Okay, great. They must be acclimated to confinement, definitely so. And then let's see, what else do we have? Her last one, it says great tips. So she is very happy with everything that you guys have been talking about today. So if I had our clap machine, we would give you guys a congratulations on everything. Let's see. So I definitely wanted to share, let's see, your contact information. Let's see. So that is scrolling because there's a lot of them. Let's see. What is this other one? Oh, wrong one. Hide that. I'm just having so many difficulties today. I apologize.
No, you're doing great, Greta. Thank you so much for having this conversation with us and navigating the technology on a Friday. And it's just been wonderful to be here and be able to talk about what we're passionate about with you and just have this conversation and hopefully help more pet parents kind of understand the process.
Absolutely. We're so happy to have you both. Just before we go, I just wanted to share with you guys that next year in February, we actually are planning the very first pet-centric travel conference. And we definitely want to talk to you ladies so that you can be there and be able to present your company and all of your great knowledge to everyone. It's going to be in Atlanta, Georgia. And we'll definitely keep mentioning it and planning on it. But we definitely want to make sure we bring you ladies back so that you can talk more with the pet parents, also with the airlines. We want to invite them, also with the veterinarians, because we want to invite them. Because I think if everybody knows, not just the pet parents, that there is an advocate for them to help them in this process, it'll go a long way. And what you do is very important because this one piece of paper, this document, is so important for the pets to travel anywhere in the world. And it has to be done right. So I applaud you both for what you're doing. You're providing a great service, and everyone should be very grateful to have you as a part of the process. So, well, thank you both so much. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you both so much for joining us. You shared a lot of great gems for everyone to take away, and I know that people will be reaching out to you to help them even more. So thank you again for coming on our show and sharing your knowledge. And we look forward to having many more conversations with you in the future.
Same here. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You ladies have a great day, and I look forward to reaching out to you soon.
Yes. Same here. Take care. Have a great weekend.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.